One of the best things about the NFL is that every season there are players who step up their games and become stars. A lot of times, it's completely unexpected, much like Geno Smith was last season. Last year, after the Seahawks traded Russell Wilson, the team turned to Geno Smith to be their starting quarterback. Geno hadn't started in week 1 since 2014 when he was on the New York Jets. Heading into the 2022 season, Geno Smith was 13-22 as a starter, with 34 career touchdowns to 37 career interceptions. Geno proceeded to lead the Seahawks to a playoff appearance and threw for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Then there's always the young players who finally have taken big strides in their development, just like Trevor Lawrence or Jalen Hurts did last season. That being said, there's always someone who has a breakout season, but the question is, who will it be this year? Here are 4 players who I believe are poised to have breakout seasons in 2023. Starting off, I have Justin Ross. Justin Ross has had an extremely interesting career up to this point, to say the least. In 2018, Justin Ross had an incredible year at Clemson as a freshman. Ross had 1,000 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns. He also had an incredible 21.7 yards per catch. Immediately after that season, Justin Ross was projected as a future first-round pick. That was until the offseason heading into the 2020 season, where everything would change for him. Ross made a routine catch on a slant route and got hit by a linebacker in the middle of the field. After the hit, Ross reportedly felt numbness in his arms, something that he thought was just a typical stinger. But the team decided to take Ross in for some extra tests just to make sure that everything was okay. Unfortunately for Ross, the tests found that his injury was not just a stinger and was in fact a congenital fusion of his spine, which was caused by a condition that he was born with called Klippel-Feil syndrome. Doctors said that this condition would end his career. Ross went to many different doctors trying to get clearance to play. However, nobody would allow it, as doctors said there was a risk of paralyzation and even death if Ross were to get hit in the wrong way. Looking for options, he connected with Dr. David Okonkwo, the same neurosurgeon who performed surgery on former Steelers linebacker Ryan Shazier that allowed him to walk again. After many months of tests and examinations of Ross's spine, Okonkwo decided to move forward by performing surgery on Ross. The surgery removed a disc that was pushing. Ross was cleared to return to football. However, he would end up suffering a broken foot in the beginning of the season and would play through the injury for the rest of the year. Heading into the NFL draft, it's reported that only 3 teams would clear Ross to play. This led to him going undrafted. The Kansas City Chiefs decided to take a chance on Ross and signed him as an undrafted free agent. Justin Ross would miss his entire rookie season due to needing a second surgery on his injured foot. But now he is looking fresh in training camp, as it seems like every single day Ross is making a highlight play. And also in his first preseason game against the Saints last week, he scored a touchdown. So in a Chiefs wide receiver group where there isn't a clear number 1 receiver, Ross has a chance to stand out and play a pivotal role in one of the most prolific offenses in NFL history. Up next, I have Jacksonville Jaguars running back Travis Etienne. Last year was Etienne's first season on the field in the NFL, as he missed his entire rookie season due to injury. The Jaguars drafted Etienne in the first round in the same year that they drafted Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 overall pick. Trevor and Etienne had a lot of success together while they were teammates at Clemson. But heading into the NFL, the biggest question mark on Etienne was if he was capable of being an every down back, or if he was more of a third down back that you would mostly use in the passing game. And it looked like that was what Etienne's role was going to look like with the Jaguars, as James Robinson was named the starter heading into the 2022 season. Robinson would start in the first 5 games of the season for the Jaguars, but would be pretty disappointing as he only averaged a little over 57 yards per game and 4 yards per carry. So the Jaguars not only decided to bench Robinson in favor of Etienne, they traded James Robinson to the Jets in week 8. This completely opened the door for Etienne to not only be the Jaguars' starting running back, but to also be the team's featured back. Etienne took full advantage of his opportunity. In the 12 games that he started last season, he averaged over 5 yards per carry and ran for over 75 yards per game. He totaled over 1,400 yards from scrimmage, which was in the top 10 of all running backs. And now, heading into his first full season as the starting running back, Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson has put some high expectations on Etienne, saying that he believes that Etienne could be pushing 1,600 to 1,700 yards as a rusher this season. To put those numbers into perspective, Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing with 1,653 rushing yards last year. So while Doug Peterson could just be throwing out numbers to hype up Etienne, it is clear that he likes what he's seeing out of him in camp and is planning on Etienne being a vital part of their offense this season. I think Travis Etienne is going to have a great year and play a huge role for the Jaguars, and I believe there's a chance we're talking about Etienne as a top 5 running back by the end of the season. Next up, I have everyone's favorite breakout candidate, Justin Fields. Fields has had an extremely rocky entrance to the league. In his first 2 seasons, he has a record of 5-20 as a starter. But to be completely fair to him, the Bears haven't helped him out a lot either. The offensive line has been subpar and the receiving group has been terrible. They also fired head coach Matt Nagy after Fields' rookie year. So the Bears have done pretty much everything possible to destroy Fields' career, and for a while, it looked like it was going to work. But last year, we saw Fields make some pretty huge improvements in the final 9 games of the year. During the first 6 games, Fields only completed 54% of his passes. He threw for more interceptions than touchdowns, had a passer rating of 72.7, and only found the end zone once as a rusher. It looked like Fields was a complete bust, and there was buzz that the Bears would be exploring the quarterback market in the offseason. But in his final 9 starts of the year, Fields completed over 63% of his passes for 13 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. His passer rating jumped to 92.3, and he ran for 861 yards and 7 touchdowns. If you average those numbers out through 17 games, Fields would have had 4,200 total yards and 38 total touchdowns. So those improvements have put a lot of hype around Fields heading into his 3rd season. The Bears also went out and traded for wide receiver DJ Moore, who has reportedly become Fields' favorite target in training camp. And they drafted offensive tackle Darnell Wright from Tennessee in the 1st round. If he can become an anchor on the offensive line, that would be huge for Justin Fields. Not only will it help prevent him from getting hit, it will give him some extra time to stay in the pocket and develop as a passer as well. This will also be Fields' first season in the NFL where he doesn't have to go through a coaching change. I think a big part of Fields' progression in the second half of last year was him getting more comfortable in Luke Getsy's new offense. So now Justin Fields is entering this season with the same head coach and offensive coordinator, an improved receiver group, and an improved offensive line. That sounds like a really good recipe for Fields to continue to make improvements just like he did last year. Now to finish off the list, I have Garrett Wilson. This guy is going to have a massive season with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Last season, with terrible quarterback play in one of the worst passing offenses in the entire NFL, Garrett Wilson put up 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns and was the offensive rookie of the year. Just to put those numbers into perspective, no other Jets receiver totaled over 600 yards on the season. Aaron Rodgers has even come out and said that Garrett Wilson has qualities that remind him of his former teammate Davante Adams. So it's clear, Garrett Wilson is already earning a ton of respect from Rodgers, who has shown that if he trusts a receiver, he will get them the ball. It's almost inevitable that Garrett Wilson will put up monster numbers this season, simply just because the team upgraded to a Hall of Fame quarterback. In the past 3 years, there have been 5 other receivers who have had over 1,000 yards in their rookie seasons. All of them, other than Jamar Chase last year, who dealt with injuries, and Chris Olave, who still hasn't played his 2nd season, have increased their yardage and their touchdowns in the following year. But the one thing about all of the other receivers on this list is that they had the same quarterback in both years, while Garrett Wilson has the luxury of an upgrade at who's throwing him the football. Garrett Wilson is primed to have an insane season this year, and I believe that he's going to put himself in the same category as Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase as one of the top young wide receivers in the game. Hey everyone, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button, as it'll go a long way in helping me grow this channel for you. Also, let me know in the comments of any players that you think are poised to have breakout years this year. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.